What is up, all you beautiful people? It is with very great sadness that I have to come on here and talk about this 24-3 Monday night loss. But the show does go on the Feeling Blue podcast, your favorite source for all the latest Giants news, recaps, reviews, all that good stuff. So welcome, Aaron, my co-host. How are you doing today?
Oh man, not good, not good. We definitely picked a good name with Feeling Blue because 15
Mhm.
points in 3 big primetime games, and the Seahawks literally that were giving us the win, and we just couldn't execute. I'm just disgusted.
Yep. No, I agree with you. Before we get into it, obviously we're gonna do our shameless plugs. Make sure you subscribe to That's My Sports. Definitely been growing on YouTube. I've been checking you guys out. Just dropped something yesterday. I have yet to check it out. I was busy, but I'm going to check that out very soon. And make sure you follow Aaron on X on his handle right here as well. I am also on X and Instagram at CPNY Sports. And obviously, if you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're a Giants fan or if you're an NFL fan in general, I do a lot of great content. I just got off the live Thursday Night Lights. Those guys on my YouTube channel might even still be going as we're doing this. So we'll see. Hit that thumbs up, bottom right hand corner, subscribe to the channel. Likewise, I think this is going to TMS as well, the YouTube. So if you're over there, go ahead and subscribe to the CP New York Sports channel. And you know what? We're continuing to grow. We just want to put good content out there. And just continuing to grow with this Giants community stuff. But let's talk about it, man. Oh my goodness. Monday Night Football, like you just said, under 20 points in 3 combined primetime games. We have another one coming up against Buffalo Sunday Night Football in 2 weeks. I know we got the Dolphins. Doesn't get any easier this upcoming week. But I want to preview everything, or review, I should say, everything that we saw in this horrid, atrocious, embarrassing performance. If you can even call it a performance. It wasn't even a performance. It was mediocrity. It was horrible. Loss on Monday Night Football to, quite frankly, I don't think the Seahawks are that much
They're
more
not.
talented than the Giants. Um, Maybe their offensive line, even though they were in their third tier offensive line with how many injuries they've had, still looked more competent than ours. But that's besides the point. Every other position group, I think the Giants stack up pretty well. A lot to talk about this game. Let's get into our takeaways on this embarrassing performance. Aaron, I'm gonna let you go first here. I know we have a bunch of topics on here. We're gonna get to each and every one of these topics. If there's a topic that is not on here, feel free to address it. Let's talk about this for a little bit because there's a lot of takeaways and there's a lot of discussion that needs to happen surrounding this team.
So I don't know if this is part of the defensive progress, but I felt like they didn't progress at all in this game. Like you just said, they had third string lineman, fourth string lineman for the Seahawks and Dexter Lawrence. Can we say Leonard Williams is a jag? I say this on That's My Sports. It means just another guy. Third tier
Yes.
lineman, you
Yes.
can't get any sacks. You can't put any pressure. I mean, same thing with Sexy Dexy. No one can put pressure on third string linemen. Come on, man. And the words of Shea, you're just check stealing. You're check stealing. And then, I mean, I guess Bobby Okereke did good for linebacking, but I'm just going to focus on special teams. I can go off on this defense because there were a lot of things I saw. I was just like, ugh. But special teams, Eric Ray. Is he RW McQuarters? Muffin punts? And then Brian Daboll doesn't learn from last year, and you put Dory Jackson back out there at punt return. Why? I don't understand. You're not using Isaiah Hodgins, put him out there. Or you're not using Jalen Hyatt, put him out there. That's another thing. I mean,
Well, you
especially
know
the
what was
6
funny about that?
penalties.
You know what's funny about that? Not to cut you off, and I
All right,
apologize. What
good.
was funny about that is that when with the first punt return Adoree had, I kid you not, 1 second after the guy punted it, he called a fair catch. He had no intentions of returning that ball.
Yep.
That is embarrassing that the Giants special teams unit has come to that level where Dory Jackson is calling. That is the equivalent. That is a special teams equivalent of the Giants running a 3rd and 8 QB sneak in the Joe Judge era in
Oh,
their
Jake
own.
Fromm.
Yeah, that is the equivalent. I'll tell you that is the equivalent. So go ahead, continue. I apologize.
I was gonna say, because I feel like you have more, is just the 6 penalties that we had on special teams and how Thomas McGahee. I don't know. We're definitely probably saying it wrong. McGahee.
McGahee.
He's saying Brian Daboll's always on him, but it's not showing any progression in that at all.
No, I agree. My thing is the special teams is definitely abysmal. Bobby Johnson, Thomas McGahee shouldn't have jobs. That is what it is. Don't know when that'll change. If there's going to be a midseason sort of switch up, I think that's on Brian Daboll to sort of have some awareness that those units may be lacking in talent. Understandably so, but like those guys, like the O line progression hasn't been there. We've talked about it. Zane, who has joined us a couple weeks prior, has talked about it. Our guy Chris from Hit Squad talked about it. Like the progression from the O line isn't there. Daniel Jones literally got sacked 11 times. Daniel Jones got sacked 11 times.
And let's not for the fact that John Michael Schmitz is hurt because they did not practice the tush push. They did not practice it. So they're trying to do it. And then him and Daniel Bellinger, and
MCL sprain for
he got hurt. Yep, MCL sprain. Evan Neal's pushing Darren Waller instead of pushing the Seahawks guy.
Well,
What's going on with
We'll
that?
get to Evan Neal. We'll get.
I
to
just
Evan
wanted
Neal.
you to say because we're talking about the linemen. That was just horrible, and everyone was getting taken for a ride. Josh Azuda was taken for a ride.
Yep.
And Daniel Jones' confidence is just going down, man. It's going down.
And I don't blame him that his confidence is down. I understand the money he's making, but when you have flashbacks of guys just sacking you week after week after week, it takes a toll on you. Now, I want to get into Daniel Jones' performance because he wasn't all sunshine and rainbows either. Daniel Jones had a horrible performance. And quite frankly, I am going to put it on him. He is the reason why the Giants never got back into that ball game. They put themselves in prime position to score that touchdown. Darren Waller was streaking wide open, corner of the end zone. Daniel Jones was staring down his first read, and Paris Campbell throws a 97-yard pick six in a crucial spot where you could have cut it to one possession. Hell, you could even cut it to a field goal with a successful 2-point conversion thereafter. What did you see in that play? Analyze that for me.
So it's crazy. So you would rather throw it to a guy who has the cornerback right, like probably like 2 inches from him, where rather than seeing your best receiver who was a tight end wearing Jarrell Jernigan's number 12 in the corner, and you can't make that throw. I don't understand. Like you're acting like you're a rookie. And I just had something else that happened too with him, and I totally forgot. But and
Dan
then
Jones?
and then we got the Jalen Hyatt with Daniel Jones as well. Why are you throwing a 2-yard pass to him and then he's off the field? Yeah. What is going like?
Well, that's not on Daniel Jones. That's more on the coaching staff because honestly, I don't know if you heard it during the broadcast. There was a point in the third quarter where they said the longest pass that Daniel Jones has thrown today in the pocket was 7 yards. It was 7 yards upfield.
Yeah,
that
but
is
for
horrible.
Yeah, but for just if we're just doing the Waller play, yeah, I don't know what you're doing, dude. Like that's rookie stuff. Rookies straight up just look at their guys. That's like or their first instinct instead of faking it. Because you never see Peyton Manning do that. Tom Brady. Heck, you never even see Eli do that, really. So I don't know. That was just ridiculous. And also, it's just the play calling was weird. And just to kind of just throw back real quick, special teams. You don't trust Graham Gano to hit a 42-yarder, but you trust him to hit a 52-yarder. That's all I'm going to say about that one. But the Daniel Jones thing is just his reads were crazy, and I get he had pressure on him, but I don't know. Waller is a 6'5" tight end, not even, and he should be.
Oh, I agree. What up, 4Life Niner? Appreciate you. I apologize, in advance for our Giants' horrible Monday Night Football performance. I know you guys don't need any help in that NFC West division, but it would have been, I guess, nice for you all to see a Seahawks loss. Appreciate the support. Always supporting. Was on the Thursday Night Lights stream just a little bit ago. Kind of had to switch the attire, make it look like I'm not just wearing the same clothes on multiple streams. So,
And I don't
no, just
appreciate
kidding.
Eric Armstead's comments, sir. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Don't
yeah. What's up
appreciate
with the
that.
40? What's up with the 49ers defense sounding off on our guy DJ? I know he's making 40 million a year and not looking like it, but come on. No, I appreciate the support. In all seriousness, definitely appreciate you tuning into the stream. Make sure you follow here my guy Aaron at That's My Sports as well. They run a nice little sports YouTube at That's My Sports on YouTube. So go ahead. It's being streamed to his YouTube as well. Him and his co-host. So yeah, so I mean, let's talk about obviously Daniel Jones didn't have a great performance, man. We saw the fumble I think that you're talking about where he was kind of getting chased out of the pocket. Obviously the offensive line collapsed on the left side. He didn't tuck the ball. Did they recover that ball? Did the Seahawks recover that ball? I'm pretty
There
sure
was
they
one
recovered
out
it.
of his 2 fumbles, they did recover 1.
They
Yeah.
did. Okay. So it's just the awareness. There was also times with Daniel Jones just to assess his performance a little bit further because like we could talk about the 11 sacks, the O-line all day long. We know the O-line sucks. Like we know
Oh
that.
yeah.
We sat here every single freaking week on this podcast and told everybody listening to us that's crazy enough to listen to us that this O-line sucks. We've pointed out the pressures. We've pointed out the win rate. We've pointed out the sacks, everything. We're past that. I'm past that. You have it on the screen. That's fine and dandy. Daniel Jones, Mr. Daniel Jones, sir, $40 million quarterback. Daniel Jones, please, please. And I went on the rant with the O-line, and I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about with Daniel Jones anymore. But the turnovers, the silly mistakes need to stop, man. They need to stop because at some point, right, you had a offense that Daboll implemented last season where it was protecting Daniel Jones. It was a simple, dumbed down offense and what I thought was a dumbed down offense. I'm not
Oh
sure if
yeah.
you agree with the same sentiment, but he had 15 passing touchdowns, not good, not great, and 5 interceptions, which is the silver lining, right? You'll take that ratio all day long, but it was a boring vanilla offense that worked and won them a playoff game. This year, I'm not sure if we can even say the offense has expanded in terms of its sort of precision or its advancement because I haven't seen it. But maybe they've been trying to get the ball a little bit more downfield with whatever time they have. But regardless of the offensive line that doesn't give Daniel Jones time, Daniel Jones also he doesn't want to get rid of that ball. I've seen him have a couple of clean pockets, just a couple. But he is refusing to get rid of that ball. Refusing. And he'll take the
I've
check
seen
down
it.
instead.
Yep.
And that's what angers me. And I think that's what a lot of people who don't like Daniel Jones and who have been ragging on him and non believing in him have said is that he does not want to let it fly. He doesn't.
And that's that Jason Garrett offense. That's what he was under coming into his beginning year. And that's what Jason Garrett used to do all the time. Check downs, running back bubble screens, stuff like that. And it's just annoying that I keep having to defend him, and now I have egg on my face, which I said yesterday. That's my sports, because I've had people say, "Oh, well, dude, shouldn't have gotten 40 mil," and I said, "Okay, well, who's better?" I've gotten Nick Foles is better, Matt Ryan. I've gotten Baker Mayfield. Apparently, I'm like, dude, no, I would not. And some people said Tyrod. I said, it's the only difference between Tyrod and Daniel is that Tyrod gets happy feet in the pocket. That's the only difference. So I'm not those guys. Daniel Jones is better than those guys. I don't want older bums for no reason.
Yeah.
But
there's no use for that. I mean, Matt Ryan, no. I mean, Baker Mayfield's having a resurgence in his career in Tampa. Good for him. I don't think it would have been feasible to sort of replace. Like the only thing that I've seen is that I think that if let me rephrase this. If you have any sort of ball knowledge, you would have known that the Giants had no choice but to bring Daniel Jones back this year after the performance that he put on last season and the overall team performance that happened. This is where it gets tricky. They made the conscious decision not to pay Saquon, which was fine and dandy. They weren't the only team that didn't want to pay a running back, but they had the opportunity to franchise tag Daniel Jones instead. Do you disagree still, or do you agree with that decision? Because I defended it weeks ago going into the preseason. I defended it, but now, and I don't want to switch up my support for Daniel Jones. I don't, because he should be here. He deserves to be here after that season he put on last season. Whether you want to attribute it to his talent, his skill, whatever, the coaching, whatever it may be. And keep in mind, people don't really realize the full extent of this contract. It's a 2-year contract that the Giants are locked into guaranteed. That full 4 years, they have a team opt out after the second year. So they're not tied into the full 4 years. But when you're looking at it, $40 million in general over 2 years still could be too much for Daniel Jones. Do you regret giving him that contract over a franchise tag, or how do you wish the Giants would have played that before we go into this Daboll Daniel Jones interaction with the iPad flipping on the sideline?
I mean, think about it. His franchise tag was 33.5 mil. So no matter what we did, people are going to say we overpaid for him. It's already looking like it's a good thing we didn't pay Saquon because he's hurt again. Shocker, shocker. I've been saying it ever since he came into the league. He had one season where I think he played at least 13 to 15 games, and that was with Eli Manning as quarterback. So I'm not paying a guy who's going to keep getting hurt, because we would have, it's a double-edged sword. We would have got ridiculed again by everybody. Said, oh, we shouldn't have paid Saquon. But look, again, yeah, 2-year deal. Nobody understands that because they're just looking at the contract. And he's not even the highest paid player. Justin Herbert, who has not won a playoff game, who has better talent than Daniel Jones, got $52.5 million. And no one's talking about that because it's Justin Herbert. He has a gunslinging arm. He's got Keenan Allen. Now he has Quentin Johnson, Joshua Palmer, because Mike Williams tore his ACL. So they're not going to talk about that. All they care about is Brandon Staley. It's not Justin Herbert's fault. It's the coach. So why go after Daniel? It's always Daniel. It's never who is the coaches. I mean, think about it. Joe Judge was his coach, and I think Pat Shermer was there for probably his last year. And Ben McAdoo, did you see that comment? He said Daniel Jones, if he was still head coach, he was a 7th round draft pick. Like, get out of here, dude. Get out of here.
Was that fake? I think that was fake.
I don't know. Ben McAdoo is a weird guy. He probably did say that.
No, yeah, that's fake. Anyways, before we get into that interaction that we saw with Daboll and Jones, and really, like, that is the epitome of how the season has gone so far. It's just disgust from Brian Daboll tossing that iPad onto Daniel Jones's lap. I know we did on the Feeling Blue pod in the preseason what our record prediction were going into the season. Obviously, we're coming off of 9-8 last season. Playoff win against the Vikings first round, got obliterated by the Eagles in the divisional game. For Life Niner wants to know what our revised record predictions are. I had 10-7 personally going into the season. I think you had 11-6.
Yep.
I might have to revise that and say,
I'm 4-13. Yeah, and the only wins we're gonna get
5-12. I'm 5-12.
Yep. I'm only going one win with the Commanders. I feel like it's gonna be a split, and then it's gonna be Jets and Raiders. That's kind of really, or maybe no, because that'd be 3, right? So no, I'll give both for for Commanders. So that's 4-13.
We play the Saints this year. I think we can get a win.
Oh yeah, we do. Down in the Bayou.
Okay. I think we can win against the Saints. I think that Daniel Jones had a career game against the Saints over there down in the
last year. Yep, that was also with the Red River Rifle, Andy Dalton. Yeah. This has got Derek Carr over there.
Hey man, listen. I'm gonna go 5-12. I don't know, man. It's just not the strength of schedule. We're looking at a potential 1-5 start after the next 2 weeks.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll be in attendance on the 22nd against the Commanders. Depending on what the Commanders, I like the the Commanders have impressed me so far. They literally just took the Eagles to OT. They've impressed me so far. I don't want to give credit to a division rival, but they've impressed me so far. I think they have a little bit ways to go, but it's looking like it's going to be between the Commanders and the Giants for the bottom dwellers of the NFC East again. And I'm not liking our chances. So I hope they can pull out a win with me in attendance on the 22nd. But I don't know. I'm going 5-12. That to just simply answer your question. Are you guys going to throw hamburgers at Evan Neal?
I supported Don LaGreca yesterday in that
Yeah,
interaction.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, listen, these guys are athletes. They're humans at the end of the day. I understand that. I did just go off on Evan Neal in terms of how foolish he looks saying that, calling himself a lion. How dare he? After he's like, this is my statement, and this is what I'm going to stand by it. He is closer to getting kicked out of the league than he is getting a second contract that's above a practice squad signing because he's looking horrible. He's blocking, like you said, his own man and Darren Waller. What are you doing out there, dude? And then you're gonna literally follow up that performance, let alone what he said on after the game. But he's literally going to the sidelines after DJ got picked or whatever, and he said, and he was like screaming, like, "Come on, man!" Like not at DJ, granted, but like you have no. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth, Evan
This
Neal.
isn't
Shut it.
Alabama, man.
Shut it. Because Evan Neal has no room to talk.
And
Zero.
thank God for Justin Pugh coming in there saying what he said about the Evan Neal comments and the fans. He kind of put a little fire extinguisher on the fire there because that's how you say it, not
What did
how
he
Evan
say?
Neal
I'm
said
not
it.
aware. What did he say?
Pretty much that he had the same frustrations as Evan Neal when he came in here because he was a first round pick out of Syracuse. He played right tackle, all that, but he pretty much said that that they need the fans, and pretty much without the fans, they can't do what they need to do. Pretty much doing some good PR work, whereas Evan Neal did not.
Yeah. Moving on. Evan Neal's a side conversation. I genuinely hope, I genuinely hope he is a bust right now, in my opinion.
He's getting into Eric
Um,
Flowers territory. I don't like that.
yeah. I hope he turns it around. He's still on the Giants. I'll support anybody on the Giants, regardless of what their comments are. I didn't like Kayvon Thibodeau's comments about the fans in Arizona booing them. I still
Yep.
supported him. Got 2 sacks. I think that he had a strong game, albeit right.
Isn't that sad
Strong-ish in the
though?
words of what we've seen from Kayvon Thibodeau, right? Just give this give at this point. I have to give flowers or flowers to do at this point. Um, just for the sake of it, whether it's true or not, 2 sacks on the stat sheet says what it is. Last point here, Daboll Jones interaction, flipping the iPad at him multiple times. Daniel Jones walks back even before the pick six, visible frustration on Daboll's face, asking him for lack of a better term, what the hell are you doing? Um, is that relationship I don't want to say it's going down towards a rift territory, but there's also speculation that Daboll and Shane were pressured by Mara to bring Daniel Jones back and be the guy.
There's
What do you
no way John. Oh, actually, you know what? There is a way John Mayer could have probably did that because John Mayer's tired of losing. We've seen him throwing chairs in his press box, and he's never really given Steve Tisch any input, even though Steve Tisch is a part owner. It's really just been the Mara. So, have people never seen Tom Brady do this to like Bill O'Brien, Bill Belichick? No one's ever seen those interactions. So I've seen it work. I've seen Peyton Manning go after Jeff Saturday, his own center. You know what I mean? So this is nothing. It's Daniel's fault though. So I don't know why people are making this a big deal where I keep seeing this headline. You can go from Bono to Bozo, and that
Yeah.
Brian Dable's turning into Ben McAdoo. Do people realize that I just saw it too on a TikTok before we even started the show. It's like called Kicking or something like that. They're already disregarding Joe Shane and Brian Dable, how they're constructing things. Do people realize that Dave Gettleman literally destroyed the salary caps for the future to come with what he did in his tenure, which is why Joe Shane has to get the Patrick Momways, aka I can't even think. I'm so freaking frustrated. But I'm just saying, so next year when the cap is,
Lewinsky's?
the Glowinskis of the world, he has to do that because there's no salary cap. People don't understand that. We will never be, except for next year, a Texans team, a Jets team who has like 80 million cap space. We've never had that because our past GMs and Jerry Reese and Dave Gettleman. They sign all these dudes to big contracts, and then we get vice gripped, and then we can't do anything.
People don't want to talk about that though, because it's
No,
now the new
it's not the
regime.
narrative.
The Giants won a playoff game, and I said this on Thursday Night Lights. The Giants won a playoff game in the first year of the regime under Daboll and Shane. So now all of a sudden they're going to be Super Bowl contenders. I have never once thought that the Giants were Super Bowl contenders coming into this season, regardless of that playoff appearance and win last season. That is ludicrous. That is unfair to Joe Shane. That is absolutely ridiculous.
I just wish they
Absolutely.
used the receiving core better because we actually kind of upgraded it in a sense. I just wish that we did a
But
little
they're
bit
not
better
using
once.
it whatsoever. It's
Exactly.
absolutely insane, man. Um, yeah.
Darius Slayton's
I
apparently bashing his head on the wall, and the
yeah,
guy came back. He was between him and us and the Falcons, and he decided to
yeah,
stay here and take a team friendly deal because he believed in it.
yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know.
It's
It is what it is.
yeah.
The frustrations, like we've seen it all so far in 2023. Like nothing else can surprise us. For Life Niner, I'm here for the love of football and the content here for us. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you tuning in. I'm thankful for all the support and all the viewers that we get. Hopefully you're enjoying the content. The channel is not only on Feeling Blue, but Thursday Night Lights and everything else that I do on the
Thursday Night Lights
channel.
is
Hopefully you can,
very good. I
yeah,
like the intensity of that
yeah,
one.
I
That's a
enjoy
good one.
chopping it up with them. Pask is that man. He brings the hype. So every Thursday, and I'm even joining them this Sunday. So if you guys are around, if you guys tuning into the channel Sunday, we'll be previewing some football, week 5 action. So moving on, Giants signed veteran guard Justin Pugh to the practice squad. Obviously, a signing, in my opinion, that was overdue for 2 weeks. It finally happened. You just said Justin Pugh sounded off in terms of what Evan Neal said in his comments. I'm not going to touch on this topic for too long. Obviously, at this point, we don't know what's happening with Andrew Thomas. He's not going to play again this week. Hammies are annoying. I get it. Don't know why he was playing in a blowout all the time that he did in week 1. You can put that to Daboll. You can put that to him for not saying something. I don't know. It's up in the air whether he's going to come in here, depending on what's happening with Thomas, as a tackle or as a guard. I'm thinking guard as of right now. We'll see because Azudu has looked decent at the left tackle position. So if they need to make the move back to Azudu at left tackle, although I know Azudu got pretty much abused this past go around against the Seahawks, but the previous couple weeks, where do you see him slotting in at? Describe. Obviously, I don't think we don't think that he's going to be the single source or sole source savior for this offensive line. But just kind of touch on your Justin Pugh. He was a guy that you did mention in the preseason for the Giants as a potential signee. I will give you credit there, 100%. I always give you credit. That is 100% your take. You did say that. And that was brilliant because it ended up coming to fruition. How soon do we see Justin Pugh? Do you think he's activated this week? He did sign to the practice squad.
They're saying no, but what's it gonna hurt? Just sign him. Put him at right guard with Evan Neal. I wouldn't put him at right tackle because when he came out of Syracuse, that was his flaw, is that he had small arms, and Jerry Reese wanted to put him at right tackle. But so I would put him at right guard, put Marcus McKeith in left guard because him and Zuda again played with each other, same offensive line in North Carolina. They have rapport. They have the chemistry. Just do it like that. I mean, what's it going to lose? That's all I'm going to say about this, about Justin Pugh. Just put him at right guard, play him. You know,
Agreed. Um, Yeah, so Giants getting some backup depth there. Not even backup. I mean, at this point, he'd be backup for anybody else, but for the Giants, he's going to be slated for a starting position as soon as they decide that he's ready to get activated. So, like you said, can't hurt to just bring him up. This offensive line might get Daniel Jones seriously injured at this point, unfortunately. And I feel for the kid. I really do feel for Daniel Jones. Um, it's unfortunate. So let's move on. Justin Pugh is now a Giant once again. Jersey swap looking nice. I did edit that myself
very
on the
good editing
screen.
skills.
um, a look ahead for the New York Giants. It's
Oh,
not looking good,
Jesus.
man. Dolphins, Bills, Commanders, and even the Jets, who put up a really good fight against the Chiefs in that primetime game. What, I mean, to be honest with you, if I were not a fool, and I am, so I'll just say that the Giants will be winners in my attendance against the Commanders. and hopefully win against the Jets. I'll say 2-2 here. But if I was a smart Giants fan, if I was a realistic Giants fan, I would honestly probably say 0-4 here with the way that the Commanders and Jets have been at least playing and putting together games recently versus how the Giants have looked. Record prediction, anything that you want to point out here? I just hope that the Dolphins don't put up more than 70 points on the Giants defense. The Giants defense, I will give them credit. Like I said, I've saw some improvement. The tackling still needs to get better, but of all the unfortunate situations the Giants offense put the Giants defense in last week, they only gave up 17 points. So they bent, but they didn't break. Your thoughts on this upcoming schedule next 4 weeks?
I'm going 1-2-1. I have a feeling we're gonna tie with the goddamn Commanders again. I have a feeling that's gonna happen. Jets is gonna be the only win. Dolphins. I mean, I have Tyreek Hill in one of my fantasy leagues, so I kind of want a good game. That's why I hate fantasy. But can Deontay Banks, try to pass deflect? Because that DK Metcalf touchdown, he just stood there like this. Come on,
Well, he
man.
had his
Come
back
on.
turned. He had his back turned the whole time.
Just chilling. Yeah, Dolphins is going to be a bloodbath. I don't know if we're going to be as bad as the Broncos, but it's not going to be pretty. Bills,
Yep.
I feel like it's going to be close for like the first quarter, and then I feel like the rails are just going to get unhinged. And yeah, that's my predictions.
Just want to shout out Talking Mets with Rob, my boy Chris. As a Cowboys fan, I love to see the Giants losing, but man, that's hard to watch. Shout out
So,
Rob, man.
yep,
Shout out Rob. Talking Mets with Rob. Obviously, I do Mets content with Rob. I've been on multiple shows, Shea Bridge, our Roundtable podcast Monday nights. Aaron, I know you tune into that as well. So if
yep.
you're a Mets fan watching this, MLB fan in general, tap in with Talking Mets with Rob. He also is unfortunately a Cowboys fan. I'll get
So
forgive him for
weird.
that,
I
but
don't understand that. I don't get it. But two things for you, Rob. One, I've been a Mets fan since 2002, so I have very good experience. And also, I hate the Cowboys. I've said on That's My Sports, I will never pick them. But we did subscribe to your Cowboys channel just to let you know.
there you go. There you go. Hopefully we get some content, the Cowboys content out of Rob. I know that's in the works. Hopefully, I know he's a busy man, but yeah,
For
I
real.
mean, other than this, I mean, I don't have much to say here. I think the first two are definitely L's. You could chalk it up 100%. I will be in attendance versus the Commanders. I'll be at MetLife.
How'd you get
I
tickets?
was in attendance last year in 2022 when Kayvon got the strip sack. We won on Monday Night Football. That controversial Darnay Holmes hugging. I mean, they made a parachute meme out of him with the way he was hugging the wide receiver for the Commanders. They squeaked by. That was partially a big reason why the Giants were set up for that playoff appearance. And the Jets, man, I'm not big on Zach Wilson. That defense honestly might sack Daniel Jones 15 times with the way this offensive line is looking. But the defense is talented. Offense needs work. Garrett Wilson's a weapon. They have weapons. It's just if Zach Wilson can get his feet under him, he looked good Sunday Night Football. He looked good. I'm scared. I'm not scared because I don't really care what the Jets do, but I'm scared that he's going to be clicking on all cylinders when Week 8 comes around and the
Oh
Giants
yeah,
and
that's what's
Jets
gonna
face off.
happen, dude.
Yeah,
That's
because
been
it's something because as a Mets fan, you know, if there's a get right game, it's against the Mets or the Giants,
And
and it's just how it works.
I was gonna say not even because I've seen Jeff Garcia when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles. I've seen him have a good game against us. Vince Young's had a good game against us when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles. Zach Wilson, it's gonna happen. I've seen it with I think Case Keenum at one point. He did a great against us. So it's like quarterbacks like that, they just use and abuse. Cooper Rush, I've seen it.
Yep.
I've seen it
Yep.
like that. So
Josh
with the
Dobbs.
Giants, it's like quarterbacks that should not be in the league do good against us.
I mean, you saw Drew Lock. You saw what the hell happened on that one drive that Drew Lock came in and ended up in a
Uh,
touchdown.
yep.
Can't
Oh,
can't.
I don't know how much time we have left, but Isaiah Simmons, was that a dirty hit or what? I don't think so because there's no horse
I don't think
collar.
he was. I don't think he was dirty. I don't think he was dirty. It was clean.
Yeah.
Gino's still in bounds. Brought him down. I think that as a defender in real time, full speed, you're not really thinking about how you're bringing the quarterback down. But obviously, I mean, you should probably let go as soon as he goes out of bounds. Geno Smith being a quarterback, as soon as he crosses that out of bounds mark, you should be hands off and you should not. I don't think you should finish that tackle. Although I know defenders are taught to finish the tackle.
Yeah,
I
you
think
are.
that if it's going out of bounds, hands free, let go, and like you don't want to see that type of thing happen where Geno Smith had to obviously exit the game for some amount of time, right? So that's my 2 cents on it, at least. Moving forward, quick touch on this. I know that we've had this conversation. I honestly,
I said it twice.
you mentioned this like 2 weeks ago,
I
the
did.
Caleb Williams talk. You mentioned it 2 weeks ago. Another thing that you foreshadowed. Will the Giants be in contention for the number one pick slash or should they be? Um, Second little thing in red here is more pertaining to whether we should be actively rooting for that or not. But the first, obviously point here, with the Giants being in contention for the number one pick, do we really think that the Giants, like with the likes of, the Bears are really the only team that I can think of at the moment, and maybe the Panthers that as we said on Thursday Night Lights just before this, do we really think the Giants have a shot for this number one pick? And second of all, as a fan, Aaron, are you rooting for it? Are you the type that you would, at this point, cut losses and tank? Because I know I'm not, but I know that's an unpopular opinion. And I know as a Mets fan, I low key was kind of rooting for a tank this season because at this point, I'd rather keep the draft pick as a Mets fan. But it's a little bit different when you only get 17 games in a season as a Giants fan. What are your thoughts?
I think we'll be in contention for a top 5 pick again. This is just how this roster is constructed. Again, I keep saying it's the same roster as last year. They just added some pieces. I don't think Daniel's going to be the guy next year. I think somehow they're going to find a way, unfortunately, either buy out or do what they need to do. So if Caleb Williams is out there, I know you said it on the Thursday Night Lights. If that's a real report that he would play for the Giants, I would try to tank for Caleb Williams. I have Deontay Adams, who's also a Giants fan. He put up an edit of Caleb Williams already in a Giants jersey. So
Yeah.
but I've never been the guy saying, "Hey, I want to tank to get the number one pick." I'm not the Philadelphia 76ers of the world. I'm not trusting that process. So if we do, we do. But knowing us, we'll win like 4 games, and it just won't happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, and we'll probably win those games late, right? Like it'll be like, oh, like, some garbage time games that we'll win. I mean, I saw it against obviously it was a moot point with the way Chase Young's career so far. I'm not going to label Chase Young a bust because I think he's having a little bit of a
He hasn't played a
resurgence right
year and
now.
a
But like,
half.
yeah, no, I know, I
Like,
know, I know. But that Chase Young bowl that we had at the end of the
oh
season
man, I
back
want him so
whenever
bad that
it
year.
was.
Yep.
I was at that game that Daniel Jones literally put up 5 touchdowns in the game against the Commanders or the Washington football team at that time. And obviously, we ended up with Andrew Thomas in that year, which is a plus for the Giants. So,
Yep. And think about it. Jeff Okudah went before him, and look at him
yep,
now, hurt in Atlanta.
yep, in Atlanta. Yep. So, like I said, I'll never root actively just because
Exactly.
football season, my team in a football season in contention hasn't been something that's been very I haven't experienced it that much recently. Obviously, you look at 2016 and the playoff loss to the Packers in that year, and then you look at this 2022 season, um, obviously winning a game, then getting routed by division rivals in a divisional game. I haven't seen any like besides the last Super Bowl run, we haven't really seen the Giants be relevant in the playoffs. So any sort of football I can get over the course of what was 16, now 17 weeks in the regular season is something I'm going to cherish. And I'm always going to want to see the Giants come out on top because it's not like baseball where we see 162 and we're like, all right, at this point, just freaking lose the games. And we've seen so much of it already. It's 17 games. And I want to take advantage of the season while I can, but at this point, you have to also realize, like, I don't think Daboll would risk his job. I don't think Joe Shane would risk their image to sort of tank. So I don't think it's going to happen. It's never going to happen with any sort of coaches that value their job unless they're given the okay from the owner, like, hey, you'll keep your job if you go and tank for this pick, which, it's always going to be unsaid anyways. I don't think it's going to happen with the Giants.
And John
I
Mara
would
won't let
like
that happen. John
It
Mara
won't
won't. He
happen.
won't let that happen. He's seen it with the Pat Shermer. He's seen it
Yeah,
with
it
the
won't
Ben
happen.
McAdoo. I'm telling you, this is a
Yeah.
curse of Tom Coughlin, man. I mean, Tom Coughlin teams have always been relevant. The only
Yep.
time they really weren't was kind of near his end. So when we got like the
Yep.
OBJs, and we weren't getting from second round on second contracts, that was kind of killer in the Jerry Reese era. So yeah, I mean,
Well,
I've seen it all too. Like I've seen the Kerry Collins, Ike Hilliard years with Ernie
yeah.
Corsi, and then the Eli years. People forget, man. Like Eli was getting killed, and he had better offensive lineman than Daniel Jones has.
Yeah.
So it
Look at this comment. If we lose against Washington in the next couple of weeks when we face off against them, we're better off pulling a Mets at the deadline and selling pieces. I already
Giants
think
have
that's
never
gonna
done
happen with
that.
the way this course. I don't think they've ever done that, but when you look at a Dory Jackson, he's been bought this season to for lack of a better term. He has not played well.
And that's another
I don't think Leonard.
that's another Dave Gettleman signing. That was a big
Yeah.
contract for him at that time. Same thing with Kenny
Yep.
Galladay. So that's what I'm saying. That's why people understand the vice grip.
Yeah, I agree. And then Leonard Williams, you have that $32 million cap hit. He's making 32 M's this year. I think that obviously we were all expecting a restructure to happen. I'm not sure exactly what the conversation was there, but didn't happen. And as Zane, the belt guy on X, put it nicely, for lack of a better term, I'm not going to miss Leonard Williams on this team because he is essentially a non-factor. He is a pretender on that defensive line. He is a pretender. He is a non-factor.
Is he our Albert Hainsworth? I don't know if you
Yeah, I
remember
mean,
that
I
far.
guess so at this point. Listen, man, this is what I wanted to get off today. We've been kind of ranting a whole different bunch of tangents, man. I always appreciate it. Next week, hopefully, we have a little bit more thorough show. I was a little bit busy today, but I'm glad that we can get this done. Obviously, we have our nice little. I think that's a Landon Collins jersey. I hope that's a
It
Landon
could be a
Collins jersey. That
Landon,
was
it could
about
be a Tiki Barber, it could be a Kenny Phillips.
yeah.
It all depends.
Yeah, Kenny Phillips. There you go. That's a throwback of a name. Final thoughts going
You.
forward, though. Where do the Giants go from here, man? I mean, I know we just touched on it, but like, where do you realistically see this season going, and like a sort of like X mark where you're like, this season's dead?
It's gonna be like in the past. It's gonna be Tom Coughlin's last year up to now. It's gonna be the Pat Shermers because it's already looking like it. It's looking like the Pat Shermers 1-6 teams, the Joe Judge's 1-6 teams, the Ben McAdoo's 1-6. It's just looking like the past. The only thing I'm looking forward to positively is next year when we get that salary cap. Now I don't know how much we're gonna have left because of all the signings we did in this year with the extensions and all that. But I don't think Joe Shane did it so he can be in another vice grip. So hopefully that's the only thing I'm really looking forward to. And of course my mouse isn't working. So I see Stevie Mac's comments. I understand you don't really need the first pick to get a quarterback because all of them are out there. But how many are there really for a generational quarterback? Because you can
Yeah.
bust on a QB instantly, aka Cleveland Browns, Brandon Weeden, which I will keep saying it. We are the Cleveland Browns, and the Cleveland Browns have had one win in 2 years. That's how bad we
Yeah.
are.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Great points. I mean, in terms of where I stand with the Giants, obviously I'm gonna sit here and watch every single game.
Yeah,
I'm gonna bet
absolutely.
against them. The one thing I didn't mention, I already put -9.5 in for the Dolphins spread. I already put
Ah,
it in.
yeah,
Might as
it's
well might make some money while I'm watching the Giants play. Happy either way. If they somehow pull off a miracle, so be it. Not gonna happen. I'm gonna win some money. FanDuel is gonna owe me some money. Um, I mean, I don't know what the point would be. I kind of agree with Stevie Mac. I think that Commanders game, because like at this point we're 1-3. We know we're going to be probably 1-5 after the next 2 weeks. 2-5. Does 2-5 versus 1-6 really make a difference in the grand scheme of things? I don't think so. So I think the Commanders game is when the realization really sets in that the Giants aren't going to do anything diddly squat this year. So I think that's when the realization comes in. So I just hope that the front office really does sort of do their best with the, I guess, grace or the acceptance of John Mara. We all know how stubborn and old school he is and his thought processes. And oh, we need to win now, and we're 2-5, but we can salvage this season. Like it's not happening. I don't think any rational fan with the way the first 4 weeks performances have gone think that this Giants team can even sneak into a last wild card spot. It's not gonna happen. So I don't know. I don't want to write the Giants off, but I kind of am writing them off at this point. I am rooting for competitive games at least. Cover the spread. Screw Vegas over. I don't care. Just do whatever you have to. Although don't do it next week because I already have money on the Dolphins. So but yeah, man, honestly, bottom right, fire everyone. Don't fire Daboll. Daboll deserves another, he's the coach of the year for a reason. I know he said the same thing about Buck Showalter, but Buck Showalter, obviously after the manager of the year, got his next year. They failed again. Then you can start to reevaluate Daboll. Shane has done everything right on paper with the cap spaces that he's been given, like you said. So those guys are safe. Bobby Johnson, Thomas McGahee, you all are not safe. I will not shed a tear
That's
when those
crazy.
guys lose their job. Not one bit. Other than that, though, honestly, I have nothing else to say. Aaron, final thoughts. I know we just did final thoughts on the Giants, but final thoughts on the pod. Anything else you want to get off? Obviously, Giant loss. Giants get routed 24-3. Dolphins coming up. 1 p.m. game, I believe, on Sunday.
Yep.
Week 5 coming up. Love football. We'll be watching every slate. Will be on the Thursday night lights, but it's the Sunday morning lights, I guess you could say. It doesn't have a really official name like the Thursday show, but I'll be on there talking football. Come and join us. Aaron, take us away. What you got?
Pretty much, I'm gonna try to change my Twitter handle so that way you're not saying it's Cass. Man, I'm gonna try.
Yes,
I'm gonna change that one
man.
for you. I've had, like I said, that's how I was 14, so playing football at high school. So, pretty
Definitely.
much with feeling blue. Love the content that we're doing. I'm trying to branch it out as much as we can. And also for That's My Sports, I'm trying to do it for Tuesdays, the consistency of Tuesdays with the live streams. It's just because I have 2 other co-hosts, so it all just depends on everyone's time. So I'm trying to do that. Love all the support that we're getting from, all these Giants pods, and also to, subscribe to the YouTube for not just me, but also for CPNY Sports. He's doing good things too. And he's also doing Nick's stuff coming up because Nick's season's coming up soon. So,
Yeah. Do Knicks talk, baby, on the channel.
yeah, doing some Knicks talk. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it.
Awesome. I appreciate the shout out. Shout out the Bernie and Kelsey show. Saying stopping by. What's going on, boys? Hopefully we can start to fix things. I definitely agree. I mean, I know we're on the tail end of the live stream here. Definitely go ahead and tune back in from the start of the pod and what we've been saying all up until now. I mean, things have to turn around. It's been brutal so far this season, but hopefully, we're still holding out hope, and we just want to see some competitive football out of Big Blue. So appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in. And yeah, whoa, Billy Upler's under investigation. All right, that's another pod topic for later. This is not a Mets pod, but this was the Feeling Blue pod. Make sure you're subscribing to That's My Sports on YouTube. That's My Sports. I think you're almost at 60 subscribers. Am I wrong?
Yeah. So last time I checked was 56. So yeah, we're getting there.
Cool. That's My Sports on YouTube. Follow Aaron. He's gonna try to change his X handle, but for right now, it's at Cassman74. I am also on X and Instagram at CPNY Sports. You know the deal. You know where to find me. Hit that thumbs up. Comment. If you're watching the rerun, comment your thoughts and opinions. I appreciate everybody commenting during this live stream. Hit that subscribe button to my channel. Bottom right hand corner if you're watching this on my stream. Or if you're on That's My Sports, make sure you go ahead and subscribing to my channel as well. And yeah, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Feeling Blue. With that, we are out. As always, guys, let's go Giants. Hopefully, turn it around.